One thing is to put the right technology and get the right data and motivate the people all together. But it's another discipline to weave them together into an efficient process. And to illustrate my point, I want to refer to a true story that I witnessed. Watching two people argue at a desk about the work being done for a forecast preparation. There was a general manager talking to an analyst, challenging that analyst on the value-added work he had done all morning working on this spreadsheet. And the point the general manager made was the following. Hey, Mr. Analyst, you came in with an MBA, you were given a corporate title, and you are comped pretty nicely. But all I'm watching you doing on your spreadsheet is what my kids are actually doing at school. And I could see the analyst completely baffled by the comment, feeling insulted about it. And the general manager went on, and it's a true story once again, went on and say, hey, listen, I've looked at you working on your spreadsheets, and all you've been doing all morning is actually putting bold and italics and colors and lines and underlines. And I'm sorry, buddy, but that's called coloring. It's what my daughter does in primary school. And to the analyst's surprise, the general manager went on. He said, you know what, and there's even more. I've watched your spreadsheet, and it's all about sums, subtractions, sometimes multiplications, and sometimes divisions. That's Math 101, and that's what my son does in primary school. So now you ask me, what type of value you've brought to the company all morning working on that spreadsheet. Witnessing that story has been an awakener for me. I realized that we can't let our colleagues, our employees work that way. We want them to bloom, to produce more value for themselves and for the company. It's part of development. So how do we do that? Well, there is one common thread to any data process that you can recognize anywhere, any industry, for any data. And that thread is always made of 7 steps. And feel free to maybe, reverse a few, but basically it always goes like this. The first one is the identification of the data, and it takes us back to which business problem you're trying to solve, and dare to ask the right question and go get the right data. But with proper knowledge, you will never be afraid, and you will know how to grasp any data out there that is required for analysis. So identification is the first step. The second one is collection. You just can't work if data is all over the place. At some point, you need that data to be brought to you so that it can be accessible at one point. So collection leads to then organization. Imagine you're a student and you want to work at the library and you want to do a review on, let's say, mountains. You probably need the books to be sorted differently than alphabetically. You probably want them to be sorted by continent or type of mountain, whether they're volcanic or not. I mean, you name it. The same goes with data. The organization of data is actually very critical to the way you're going to analyze it, so that you empower the users to have easy access to it and easier work with it. So once you collected the data and you organize the data, you store it. That goes back to getting that repository, whether it's a text file for the most primal form or a complete data warehouse for a more advanced form. You need to put it somewhere where it's going to be fluid and shareable. Once it is stored, finally comes analysis. We all want to do analytics, but yet we need to go through these first steps. So analysis comes in, and this is where we're going to crunch that information and twist it and slice it and dice it and connect it to get more insight out of it, which leads to reporting. This is where actually we're going to convey this information to the right people in the right time, in the right format, so that they can actually take action, which is the last point. And if the data is not conveyed in the right shape, we might miss that last component.